I don't want him to go and tell his uncle one thing and then have to go back and tell him again. Let's go. Whether he forgives me or not, I have to finish telling him the truth. But he's already so angry with me. How am I going to get through it? I am terrified that Daniel's going to leave me forever. I've been with more than one woman. It's not as bad as...
Don't come close to me.
Lisa's voice trembles as she finally lets the words slip out. The kind of words that can't be unsaid. The kind that split a room in half and leave the air heavy. She looks Daniel in the eye, her hands shaking, and tells him the truth she's been hiding for months. She's still married. And not just to anyone, but to a woman. The silence that follows is so sharp it almost hurts. Daniel's face freezes, his eyes wide, his jaw clenched, and for a moment, it's impossible to tell if he's about to shout, cry, or walk out the door. Lisa's heart is pounding so loud she can barely hear her own thoughts, and all she can do is wait for the explosion she knows is coming. The room feels smaller, the walls closing in, and every second Daniel doesn't speak is another second Lisa's fear grows. She's terrified, not just of losing him, but of what he'll say, what he'll do, and what this means for everything they've built, or pretended to build, together. Before this moment, before the confession that changed everything, there were weeks of tension, of half-truths and nervous glances, of Lisa rehearsing her lines in the mirror, and Daniel sensing something was off but never quite putting his finger on it. They'd come so far, or at least it looked that way on the surface. Lisa had flown across the world, chasing a love story she hoped would save her from her past, while Daniel had played the part of the devoted fiancé, always smiling, always promising forever, but always with one eye on the future and the other on his phone. Now, with the truth out in the open, all the little cracks in their story are starting to show. Lisa's mind races back to the first time she lied, the first time she told herself it was for the best, that Daniel didn't need to know everything, not yet. She remembers the way he looked at her when she promised she was ready for a new life, the way he believed her, or at least pretended to. And now, as she watches him process the truth, she wonders if he ever really believed her at all. You're watching Reality Sport, and I'm Aliva. If you're as shocked as Daniel right now, hit that subscribe button and drop your wildest prediction in the comments. Because trust me, this story is only getting started, and I want to know what you think Daniel will do next. Will he forgive Lisa? Or is this the end of their 90-day dream? Your guess is as good as mine, and I'll be reading every single comment. Daniel's silence stretches on, his face unreadable, and Lisa feels the weight of every secret she's ever kept pressing down on her chest. She tries to read his expression, searching for any sign of hope, but all she finds is a wall. The seconds drag by, and the tension in the room is thick enough to cut with a knife. Lisa's mind is spinning, replaying every moment that led them here. Every choice she made, every lie she told herself was harmless. She wonders if Daniel is thinking about the same things, if he's remembering the promises they made, the plans they shared, or if he's already planning his escape. The fear in her eyes is raw, and for the first time she realizes that the truth might cost her everything. Daniel finally blinks, his lips parting as if to speak, but the words catch in his throat. Lisa holds her breath, waiting for the verdict, knowing that whatever happens next will change both of their lives forever. Just a few days before Lisa's confession, the air between her and Daniel was already thick with tension, every conversation laced with something unsaid. Lisa would catch herself staring at Daniel when he wasn't looking, searching his face for any sign that he knew, that he suspected, that he was about to call her out. She'd wake up in the middle of the night, heart racing, convinced she'd said too much or not enough, replaying every word she'd spoken that day. Daniel, on the other hand, had started to pull away, his texts shorter, his smiles tighter, his questions more pointed. He'd ask about her past, about her divorce, about why things were taking so long, and Lisa would dodge, deflect, or change the subject, hoping he wouldn't notice the cracks in her story. Every time Daniel mentioned his uncle, Lisa felt her stomach twist. In Daniel's world, family isn't just important, it's everything. His uncle's approval is the golden ticket, the final stamp on their relationship. And without it, nothing moves forward. Lisa knew this, and every time Daniel brought up the need to come clean to his uncle, she felt the walls closing in. She'd nod along, promise they'd talk to him soon, all while silently begging for more time, more space, more chances to figure out how to tell the truth without losing everything. The pressure was relentless, and Lisa could feel herself unraveling, her nerves fraying with every passing day. Inside her own head, Lisa was fighting a war. She told herself she was protecting Daniel, that he didn't need to know everything, not yet. She convinced herself that once they were together, once they'd built a life, the truth would matter less, that love would be enough to smooth over the rough edges. But the closer they got to the big conversation with Daniel's uncle, the more Lisa realized she was lying to herself as much as she was lying to Daniel. She was terrified that if Daniel knew the whole story, he'd walk away, that he'd see her not as the woman he loved, but as a problem to solve, a risk to avoid. The fear was paralyzing, and every time Daniel looked at her with those searching eyes, she felt like he could see right through her. But Daniel wasn't as clueless as Lisa hoped. He'd started to notice the inconsistencies, the way Lisa would flinch when he mentioned the future, the way she'd change the subject when things got too personal. He'd begun to wonder if Lisa was hiding something big, something that could blow up their entire relationship. And while Lisa was busy worrying about her own secrets, she never stopped to think that Daniel might have a few of his own. There were moments when Daniel would disappear for hours, his phone buzzing with messages he wouldn't explain, conversations he'd end the second Lisa walked into the room. Lisa chalked it up to nerves, to cultural differences, to anything but the possibility that Daniel was playing his own game. Daniel sits across from Lisa, his eyes darting between her face and the phone in his hand, and for a moment, it's impossible to tell what's running through his mind. Is he thinking about the woman in front of him, or the life he's imagined for himself in America? The question hangs in the air, unspoken but heavy, as Lisa tries to read him, desperate for any sign that he still cares. She's been pulling out all the stops, booking last-minute trips, buying gifts she can barely afford, promising him a future that sounds more like a sales pitch than a love story. Every gesture is a plea, every smile a mask, and Lisa knows it. She's trying to buy back his trust, to patch over the cracks with money and promises, but the more she tries, the more obvious it becomes that something fundamental has shifted between them. Daniel, for his part, plays his role with a kind of practiced patience. He listens to Lisa's apologies, nods at her promises, and lets her believe that forgiveness is just around the corner. But every time she brings up the future, he circles back to his uncle, to the need for approval, to the traditions that must be respected before anything can move forward. It's a clever move. By making his uncle the gatekeeper, Daniel keeps Lisa on the hook, always waiting, always hoping, always just one step away from the life she wants. He never says no, but he never says yes either, and Lisa is left in a constant state of limbo, unsure if she's winning him back or losing him for good. The romantic getaway Lisa planned is supposed to be their fresh start, a chance to reconnect and leave the past behind. But from the moment they arrive, nothing goes as planned. The room is smaller than advertised, the view is disappointing, and the atmosphere is tense. Lisa tries to make the best of it, suggesting activities, pouring drinks, laughing a little too loudly at Daniel's jokes, but the effort only highlights how far apart they've grown. Daniel is distant, distracted, more interested in his phone than in Lisa's attempts at romance. When a spider appears in the room, Lisa panics, begging Daniel to kill it, but he refuses, watching her struggle with a cold detachment that feels almost cruel. The message is clear. He's not here to save her. Not anymore. Lisa feels the shift, the power slipping away from her with every awkward moment, every failed attempt to bridge the gap. She starts to wonder if Daniel ever really loved her, or if she was always just a means to an end, a ticket to a better life. The thought stings, but she can't shake it, not when Daniel's forgiveness feels so calculated, so conditional, so transactional. Still, Lisa isn't ready to give up. Not yet. She's convinced there's still a chance to turn things around, to prove that their relationship is more than a business deal. But what she doesn't know is that the next confrontation will change everything, flipping the power dynamic in a way neither of them expects, and leaving both Lisa and Daniel questioning who's really in control. Lisa's nerves are already frayed when the spider drops from the ceiling, landing right in the middle of their cramped resort room. She jumps back, her voice cracking as she begs Daniel to do something, anything, to get rid of it. But Daniel just stands there, arms crossed, watching her with a look that's more annoyance than concern. He doesn't move, doesn't flinch, doesn't even pretend to care about her fear. Lisa's panic grows, her hands shaking as she tries to handle the situation herself, and the humiliation burns hotter than the fear. She can't help but wonder if this is Daniel's way of punishing her, of making her feel small for all the secrets she's kept. The spider is gone in a few minutes, but the damage lingers, the silence between them heavier than ever. That night, Lisa lies awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to Daniel's steady breathing on the other side of the bed. She wants to reach out, to bridge the gap, but every time she tries, she remembers the look on his face when she confessed. The memory is sharp, painful, and it keeps her locked in place, afraid to move, afraid to speak. Daniel, for his part, seems content to let the silence stretch on. He doesn't touch her, doesn't offer comfort, doesn't even acknowledge her presence unless he has to. The hours drag by, and Lisa feels herself unraveling, her hopes slipping away with every sleepless minute. By morning, the tension has calcified into something almost physical. Daniel lays down new rules, his voice flat and emotionless, no intimacy, no affection, nothing more than polite conversation until his uncle knows the full story. Lisa tries to argue, to bargain, to find some middle ground, but Daniel won't budge. He insists that tradition must be respected, that his family's approval is non-negotiable, and Lisa is left with no choice but to agree. She feels trapped, boxed in by rules she doesn't understand, forced to play a game she never wanted to join. The power dynamic has shifted, and Lisa knows it. She's no longer in control, no longer able to steer the relationship in the direction she wants. Later, alone with the camera crew, Lisa finally lets her guard down. Her voice is raw, her eyes red from crying, and she admits what she's been dreading for weeks. She's about to tell Daniel everything. No more half-truths, no more dodging, no more pretending. She's terrified, but she knows it's the only way forward, the only chance she has of salvaging what's left of their relationship. She wipes her eyes, takes a deep breath, and promises herself that she'll face whatever comes next, no matter how painful. If you think Daniel's reaction so far has been cold, you haven't seen anything yet. The next twist will leave both Lisa and Daniel reeling, and nothing about their relationship will ever be the same. Lisa sits across from Daniel, her hands clenched so tightly her knuckles turn white, and she knows there's no way to soften what she's about to say. Her voice is barely above a whisper as she tells him the truth she's been hiding for years, the truth that's haunted every step of their relationship. She tells him her last marriage wasn't to a man, but to a woman, and that for more than 2 decades, she's only ever been with women. The words hang in the air, heavy and final, and for a moment, Daniel doesn't move. His eyes go wide, his mouth opens, but nothing comes out. The shock is written all over his face, and Lisa feels her heart drop into her stomach. She tries to explain, to fill the silence with reasons and apologies, but Daniel's expression hardens, and the anger starts to build. He stands up so quickly his chair scrapes against the floor, his voice rising as he demands to know why she lied, why she waited so long to tell him, why she thought he wouldn't care. The betrayal in his eyes is unmistakable, and Lisa feels it like a punch to the gut. She tries to reach for him, to make him understand, but Daniel pulls away, his words sharp and unforgiving. He accuses her of playing with his life, of dragging him into a mess he never agreed to, of disrespecting his family and his culture. The pain in his voice is real, and Lisa knows she's the one who caused it. She begs him to listen, to see her side, to understand that she was scared, that she didn't want to lose him, that she thought maybe, just maybe, love would be enough to fix everything. But Daniel isn't hearing any of it. He paces the room, his hands in his hair, his mind racing with questions he never thought he'd have to ask. The cultural shock is overwhelming, and he can't wrap his head around the idea that the woman he thought he knew is a stranger in so many ways. Lisa's pleas grow more desperate, her voice cracking as she promises she never meant to hurt him, that she only wanted a chance at happiness, that she thought she could leave her past behind. But the damage is done, and the trust between them is shattered. The pain of living a double life, of hiding who you are from the person you love, is written all over Lisa's face, and Daniel can't look at her without seeing the lies. Secrets have a way of poisoning everything they touch, and in this moment, both Lisa and Daniel are forced to confront the reality of what they've built. Trust, once broken, is almost impossible to repair, and the pain of betrayal lingers long after the truth comes out. Lisa's fear of losing Daniel is now a reality, and Daniel's anger is mixed with something else, something he's not ready to admit, even to himself. Because while Lisa's secrets are out in the open, Daniel's own past is still lurking in the shadows, waiting for its turn to come to light. If you think this is the end of their story, you might want to think again, because Daniel's not the only one who's been hiding something. The silence after Lisa's confession is nothing like the silence before. This one is thick, suffocating, and it stretches on for hours, then days. Lisa and Daniel move around each other like strangers in a hotel room that suddenly feels too small for both of them. Every sound is amplified. The click of a suitcase zipper, the shuffle of feet on the tile, the soft thud of a door closing. Lisa tries to keep busy, folding and refolding her clothes, scrolling through her phone, pretending to read messages that never come. Daniel spends most of his time outside, pacing the grounds, talking to no one, staring at the sky as if it might offer answers he can't find in the room with Lisa. Neither of them knows what to say. Every attempt at conversation fizzles out before it begins. Lisa wants to apologize again, to explain, to reach across the gulf that's opened up between them, but she's run out of words. She's said everything she can think of, and none of it has made a difference. Daniel, for his part, is locked in his own head, replaying every moment of their relationship, every conversation, every promise, every laugh that now feels like a lie. He wonders if he ever really knew Lisa at all, or if he was just seeing what he wanted to see, hearing what he wanted to hear. Lisa spends long hours staring at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, searching her own eyes for some sign of the woman she used to be. She asks herself if it was worth it, if the hope of a new life, a new love, was worth the risk, the lies, the pain. She wonders if she can ever forgive herself for what she's done, not just to Daniel, but to herself. She thinks about all the times she could have told the truth, all the chances she had to come clean, and she wonders if things would be different now if she'd been braver, if she'd trusted Daniel enough to let him see all of her, not just the parts she thought he could handle. The regret is heavy, and it sits with her through every sleepless night, every awkward meal, every moment of silence that passes between them. Daniel is no less lost. He's angry, yes, but beneath the anger is a deep, gnawing uncertainty. He tries to calculate the odds, to weigh the pros and cons, to decide if this relationship is salvageable or if it's time to cut his losses and move on. He thinks about his family, about his uncle, about the traditions that have shaped his life. In his world, marriage is more than just two people. It's two families, two histories, two sets of expectations colliding. The idea of bringing Lisa home, of asking for his uncle's blessing, now feels impossible. How can he explain this to his family? How can he ask them to accept a woman who's still married, who's been with women, who's kept so much hidden? The weight of it all is crushing, and Daniel feels it pressing down on him every time he thinks about the future. The uncle's presence looms large, even from a distance. Daniel knows that nothing moves forward without his uncle's approval, and the thought of facing him now is almost too much to bear. Tradition is a powerful force, and Daniel has always respected it, even when it's made his life harder. But now, for the first time, he finds himself questioning whether tradition is worth the cost. Is it possible to honor his family and still find happiness for himself? Or is he doomed to choose one over the other, to sacrifice love for duty or duty for love? The questions swirl in his mind, and there are no easy answers. Lisa senses the shift in Daniel, the way he's pulling away, the way he's already halfway out the door, even when he's standing right in front of her. She feels the urge to fight for him, to prove that they can get through this, but she's tired of fighting, tired of pretending, tired of carrying the weight of secrets that have only brought her pain. She starts to wonder if maybe she deserves better, if maybe she's been selling herself short all along. The thought is new, fragile, but it grows stronger with every passing day. She remembers who she was before Daniel, before the lies, before the fear, and she starts to imagine a future where she doesn't have to hide, where she can be honest, where she can be free. Daniel notices the change in Lisa, the way she stopped apologizing, the way she started to stand a little taller, to speak a little more clearly. It unsettles him, makes him question his own choices, his own motives. He wonders if he's been too harsh, if he's let his pride get in the way of something real. He thinks about the moments they shared before everything fell apart, The laughter, the late night talks, the dreams they built together, and he wonders if it's possible to get any of it back. But every time he reaches for hope, he remembers the betrayal, the lies, the feeling of being played, and he pulls back, afraid to get hurt again. The uncle finally calls, his voice stern and steady, asking Daniel if he's ready to bring Lisa home, if he's ready to take the next step. Daniel hesitates, the words catching in his throat. He wants to say yes, to believe that love can conquer anything, but he can't ignore the doubts that have taken root in his heart. He tells his uncle he needs more time, that things are complicated, that he's not sure what the right answer is. The uncle listens, then reminds Daniel that family comes first, that tradition is not something to be taken lightly. The call ends, and Daniel is left alone with his thoughts, more confused than ever. Lisa, meanwhile, is starting to see things differently. The pain is still there, but it's no longer the only thing she feels. She's beginning to realize that her worth isn't tied to Daniel's approval, that she doesn't need to beg for forgiveness to move forward. She starts to make plans for herself, small steps at first, calling old friends, looking at apartments, thinking about what she wants, not just what Daniel wants. The shift is subtle, but it's real, and it gives her a sense of control she hasn't felt in a long time. If you think Lisa is done fighting for herself, you're in for a surprise, because the next move she makes will turn everything upside down and force Daniel to confront the truth about what he really wants. Lisa wakes up one morning and the heaviness in her chest feels different. It's not the ache of regret or the sting of rejection. It's something sharper, cleaner, almost like clarity. She stands in front of the mirror and sees the lines on her face, the tiredness in her eyes, but also a flicker of something she hasn't seen in a long time: resolve. She's done apologizing for who she is. She's done shrinking herself to fit into someone else's idea of love. The fear that's been holding her hostage starts to loosen its grip, and for the first time since she landed in this country, she feels like she's standing on her own 2 feet. Lisa picks up her phone, scrolls through old messages, and deletes the ones that make her feel small. She calls her daughter, laughs at a joke she barely understands, and makes a list of things she wants to do for herself. She's not waiting for Daniel's approval anymore. She's not waiting for anyone's. Daniel senses the change almost immediately. The woman who used to tiptoe around his moods, who would do anything to keep the peace, is suddenly meeting his gaze without flinching. She's not asking for permission, not begging for forgiveness, not trying to buy his affection with gifts or promises. She's just there, present, unapologetic. It throws Daniel off balance. He tries to reassert control, to remind Lisa of the rules, the traditions, the expectations. He brings up his uncle again, talks about family honor, about the shame of broken promises. But Lisa doesn't bite. She listens, nods, and then calmly tells him that she's tired of living her life for other people. She says she's done hiding, done lying, done pretending to be someone she's not. Daniel's words start to sound hollow, even to him. The tension between them builds until it finally snaps. One evening, after another silent dinner, Daniel tries to lay down the law one more time. He tells Lisa that if she wants to stay with him, she needs to follow his rules, respect his family, wait for his uncle's blessing. Lisa puts down her fork, looks him straight in the eye, and says she's not afraid of being alone. She says she'd rather be single and honest than partnered and miserable. The words hang in the air, and for a moment, Daniel doesn't know what to say. He tries to remind her of everything he's given up, everything he's risked, but Lisa doesn't flinch. She tells him that love isn't a transaction, that she's not a prize to be won or a ticket to a better life. She says if he can't accept her for who she is, then maybe they're both better off apart. Daniel feels the ground shifting beneath him. He tries to pivot, to play the victim, to remind Lisa of the good times, the dreams they shared. He talks about the sacrifices he's made, the pressure from his family, the uncertainty of his future, but Lisa doesn't let him off the hook. She points out that he's been using her too, that he's been keeping his own secrets, that he's been more interested in what she can offer than who she is. She asks him if he ever really loved her, or if he just loved the idea of her, the promise of a new life, the escape from his own reality. Daniel bristles, tries to deny it, but the truth is written all over his face. The confrontation is raw, honest, and for the first time, there are no games, no masks, no half-truths. Lisa admits she was wrong to hide her past, to lie about her marriage, to try to force something that was never meant to be. Daniel admits he was wrong to use her as a means to an end, to manipulate her with guilt and tradition, to pretend he was all in when he was always holding something back. They sit in silence, the weight of everything they've said settling between them. It's not forgiveness, not yet, but it's real. It's honest. It's a start. Lisa stands up, her back straight, her voice steady, and tells Daniel she's leaving in the morning. She says she's grateful for the good times, but she's done sacrificing herself for someone who can't meet her halfway. Daniel watches her go, his mind racing, his heart pounding. He realizes he's lost control, that the power dynamic has shifted, that Lisa is no longer the desperate woman who arrived on his doorstep. She's found her strength, and he's left scrambling to figure out what comes next. If you've been wondering who was using whom, the answer isn't as simple as it seemed. Both Lisa and Daniel were looking for something. Love, security, escape, validation, and both were willing to bend the truth to get it. Now, with everything out in the open, the question isn't who wins or loses, but what happens if both of them walk away? Will they find what they're looking for on their own, or will the ghosts of this relationship follow them into whatever comes next? The next move is anyone's guess, and the story is far from over. The fallout from Lisa and Daniel's breakup doesn't stay private for long. Word spreads fast, and soon everyone in their orbit has an opinion. Lisa's phone lights up with messages from friends back home, some offering support, others asking questions she's not ready to answer. Her daughter calls, voice gentle but curious, wanting to know if her mom is okay, if she's coming home, if she regrets any of it. Lisa feels the sting of embarrassment, but also a strange sense of relief. She doesn't have to hide anymore. The truth is out, and while it's messy and painful, it's also freeing. She walks through the hotel lobby with her head a little higher, no longer worried about who's watching or what they might think. The shame that once weighed her down starts to lift, replaced by a quiet pride in having survived the storm. Daniel faces a different kind of reckoning. His uncle calls again, this time with sharper words, disappointment clear in every syllable. The family expected a bride, a future, a story that would bring honor, not scandal. Daniel tries to explain, but the words come out tangled, and he realizes he's not sure what he believes anymore. The dream of America feels further away than ever, and the safety net of tradition is slipping through his fingers. Friends who once envied his relationship now keep their distance, unsure what to make of the rumors swirling around him. Daniel feels exposed, vulnerable, and for the first time, he wonders if he's been chasing the wrong things all along. Both Lisa and Daniel are forced to confront the consequences of their choices. For Lisa, the lesson is clear. Trust and honesty aren't just words, they're the foundation of everything that matters. She thinks back on all the times she tried to control the narrative, to hide the parts of herself she thought were unlovable, and she realizes how much energy she wasted trying to be someone she wasn't. The cost of manipulation is steep, and the price is paid in loneliness, regret, and missed opportunities for real connection. Lisa promises herself that next time, she'll lead with the truth, no matter how scary it feels. She's tired of living in the shadows, tired of apologizing for her past, tired of pretending. There's a sadness in letting go, but also a hope that maybe, just maybe, she can start over and get it right. Daniel's journey is less certain. He's angry, hurt, and confused, but beneath it all is a flicker of self-awareness. He starts to see how his own actions contributed to the mess, how his need for approval and security blinded him to the reality of his relationship. He wonders if he's capable of real love, or if he's always going to be chasing something just out of reach. The family fallout is harsh, but it forces Daniel to ask himself what he really wants, not just what's expected of him. He's not sure he has the answers yet, but for the first time, he's willing to look for them. As the dust settles, both Lisa and Daniel find themselves standing at the edge of something new. There's relief in the honesty, sadness in the ending, but also a glimmer of hope that the next chapter could be different. Lisa books a flight home, her heart heavy, but her mind clear. Daniel stays behind, watching her go, wondering if he'll ever see her again, wondering if he even wants to. The story could end here, with two people walking away from each other, changed, but not broken. But life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. Just as Lisa is about to leave for the airport, she gets a message from someone she never thought she'd hear from again. A name from her past. Someone who knows secrets even Daniel never guessed. The message is short, cryptic, but it's enough to make Lisa pause, her mind racing with possibilities. Meanwhile, Daniel gets a call from a friend in America, someone with their own complicated history, someone who might have a proposition that could change everything for him. The doors to the past aren't closed as tightly as they thought, and the future is wide open, full of new risks and new chances. If you thought Lisa and Daniel's story was wild, wait until you see what's coming next. There's another 90-day fiancé couple whose secrets make this look tame, and their drama is about to explode in ways nobody saw coming. Stick around, because the next story is even messier, and you won't want to miss a second of it.